Hello and welcome back to the Weekend Spread, the Schooner Pod's weekly college football pick'em podcast. I'm your host, Bobby Howard, and with me today, we've got Jameson Maxwell, Ty Lee, and the captain himself, Boaton Blake. Fellas, I don't know what you can really say about last week. It was, not the best, not the worst. We're kind of at a point where we're starting to see the teams start to separate out a bit. We're entering November, the final real stretch of the college football run. And I don't know. I think it's going to be really intriguing to see who separates themselves from the pack. Speaking of separating from the pack, Blake and Jameson tied at 54 and 40, deadlocked up there. Ty and I in the back. But guys, how are we feeling?
Notice how Bobby doesn't say his record out loud as the only one below 500.
Yeah, 46 and 49. I gotta say, I felt good about last week. Last week was one of those weeks where I was like, I feel pretty good, like I've got a couple of these right. I felt like, and then you check the spreadsheet at night, and you're like, oh my god, oh no, I haven't caught up with this at all.
Because there were a couple games where the first half looked like, this like Iowa State in that first quarter versus BYU, they put up 17, and we're like, damn, there's Iowa State, and like BYU just chipped away and just showed how solid of a team they were. Same thing like whenever you're looking at LSU in the first half, and even a little bit at the beginning of the third quarter, you're like, okay, maybe, and then Texas A&M just blows them out in the second half. A lot of deception, like two half.
Memphis, South Florida like took a big lead, and Memphis just started chipping away at it in the fourth quarter, and then ended up winning that.
17-0 run is absolutely heartbreaking for USF.
Yeah, heartbreaking for Byron Brown and the boys. But yeah, and then Auburn, everything looked like they were in hell, and then they finally make the quarterback switch, and everything changes. So it's just one of those weeks. Could have been a lot crazier with, Alabama almost losing to South Carolina, Texas being on the verge of losing in Starkville. So,
which is gross. That game pissed me off.
I went away angry from last weekend just because of that game. That should have been Mississippi State.
It was them all day. Man. But yeah, and Ty, I'm sure you felt a little salty about the Alabama thing, because not only did they not cover the 12.5 on your wild card, but then they have to get the win anyway, so you don't get the Kalen DeBall not knower jokes out.
Yeah, that was devastating, because that felt like the safest place to put my money in the wild card that week, as we were just talking about the wild cards early on. I've done terribly because I chased Air Force around for 3 weeks, and then I was bamboozled into picking OU week 1. So really, my record should be we should expunge at least one of those losses, because I would like to remind everyone we are an OU podcast, and you guys tried to put OU not on the slate for the first time ever, and I saved it knowing I would lose. But yeah, it was a better week than I've been having though. I've been having, if you guys have been watching the previous episodes, I was on quite a skid. I was leading early on, I was leading this season, and then got in a little chippy fight for number 1, and then I've had about 3 or 4 weeks of just atrocious picks that have really bumped me down. So 6 and 4, not amazing, but I am happy with it. So I'm excited to continue this upward trajectory.
Yep, for sure. I gotta say, shout out to B Bronny 22, A&M fan who follows the show. His Aggies, what a performance from A&M there. We're gonna get our A&M talking points while Blake popped off the show here. Firing, essentially ending the reign of Brian Kelly in embarrassing fashion, doing the Aggie war hymn, in that end zone in Baton Rouge, completely shut him down. You had A&M fans in the LSU student section doing LSU cheers. That was one of the most embarrassing scenes I've ever seen, and I don't blame them for firing Brian Kelly, boys. How shocking is it that LSU, is without a head coach now?
Yeah, it was a long time coming. I think this needed to happen, and something big needed to happen to really do it. And I mean, a bunch of claps to Texas A&M, because I'm so tired of Brian Kelly goofing after games and banging his hand on the table and being such a little whiny baby. This guy just does not seem like he's like a quality human being. So get him out of the spotlight. Make him go back. He's gonna, all these coaches that are getting fired, they're gonna have another job in like a lower mid-tier program. Get him out of the light. Let them go play like, I don't know, teams like Minnesota every single week.
Yeah, he's a Big Ten guy. He's a Big Ten guy anyway, so it makes sense. But
yeah, I know that's why I was saying that. I was trying to think of like, yeah, he doesn't have to play a SEC schedule and just put him in the Big Ten.
Yeah, some Big Ten team will snap him up. Like
Yeah.
it's not at Maction level yet, but
that would be. Can you imagine falling all the way down to Mac?
Him going back, A&M, hell of a performance. LSU, another team on the coaching carousel. By far, this is going to be one of the craziest carousels of all time. Intrigued to see how it shakes out.
I think Urban's going to get a job, Ty. It's got to happen.
Urban Meyer to the Bayou.
Unless he returns to Florida, which would be insane.
Oh my God.
I don't know. I think there's so much money there that
I'm only joking. I don't actually think that, but I think honestly, John Gruden will get a look from someone.
Blake is on mute right now, but he's going insane at what you just said. I think maybe his mic isn't plugged in or something. But
he's having mic issues for sure.
He's baiting me because he's going down my hot list of people that I want in Norman, knowing that OU is going to go, 6-7 or something.
Why would I bait you, Ty?
We're still not going to fire Venables, and Urban and John Gruden are going to go somewhere, and we're going to be stuck hiring Brian Kelly in 2 years when we finally move on from Venables.
That's disgusting.
Urban would be such. I think Urban would be such a bad college coach in this day and age.
He's horrible.
Now that the players are empowered and you have to deal with them on like a personal level, he would suck at that. Like we kind of saw it in the NFL when it came to roster management, trying to deal with a locker room where guys are paid a lot of money and you have to deal with those egos. He sucked at it. He was horrendous. Yeah. He would not be a good.
Jimbo is not.
He wants to
shouted out a bunch. Yeah, I know.
He wants to come back.
Jimbo could make the most money that a coach has ever made by just getting the Penn State job for like 2 or 3 years and then collecting that buyout too. Like Jimbo could become a billionaire on just getting fired.
Disgusting. Although I'm intrigued to see what happens with LSU because their governor's like, we're not going to pay $54 million. Like
that means they're going to go Summerall. That means
Summerall is a perfect fit. And if I'm an LSU fan, I want Summerall.
Yes, you want the young guy. You want the young guy that can go energize.
You want Lane Kiffin in battle.
I think Lane can go to Florida.
I meant just the idea of like kind of throwing out your dollar amount kind of, in public kind of puts you at a bad spot. But
I think the whole idea of I think all this money towards coaches is extremely overrated. You should be giving that to your players. I think a good coach in college football is they put way too much stock into it.
My God.
Hot take?
Well, yeah, but sometimes you spend a lot of money on a running back from Cal, and it doesn't work.
Yeah, you need someone who decides who to give the money to. You can't.
But that's not
throw bags down the 247 list.
Yeah.
If you try to throw bags down the 247 list, you end up with like OU's recruiting class where no one panned out except for the one dude who is now out of prison and doing fairly okay at Kentucky.
Dude, let me tell you something. If we were getting higher recruits than we are right now, I guarantee there's a lot of guys that we were second place for. They're doing really damn good in college football right now.
Yeah.
Which would be nice.
Sure. Yeah. Would be
nice. Nice. Speaking of Brian Kelly, how about people committing to LSU immediately upon hearing that he's been fired?
That made me laugh.
That's pretty great. Yeah. That's pretty hilarious. All right, let's start off with the slate here now, boys. And we're talking about money. We're talking about crazy, buyouts. We're going to immediately go to a place where none of those exist. We're going to the American. We got Navy 7-1, 2-5 against the spread, heading to Denton to take on the North Texas Mean Green, who are 7-1, 6-2 against the spread. North Texas favored by 6.5. By this one, 11 a.m. Central on ESPN2.
Blake, put respect on Navy's name. They're undefeated.
Yeah,
undefeated. It's all 7-2 or 7-1.
Nope.
They are undefeated.
Are they not?
We are very much undefeated.
Huh. I am so sorry, Navy. We'll get that fixed. Well, I will offer that apology. Blake, is there something you want to say before starting your pick? Like, thank you for adding.
This is, look at the slate, and this is not just like, we booted off some good game. This deserved to be on there. I was saying this probably should have gotten College game day. Like, this is a really weak game day. Week. This is the time where you go to the smaller schools, shine some light on them. It didn't happen, or I guess they did go to a smaller school that probably needs a little bit of light on them in Utah. Pitiful program, but we'll get to that later. But did you see what Drew Mestamaker did last week, Jameson?
Yes,
Ooh,
I've been
600 yards of total offense coming from him. Granted, it was against Charlotte, a not very
one of the
good
worst
team.
teams.
Yeah,
Oh my
it's so
god,
bad. But I still like what they're doing in North Texas. Like, even though they got killed at home by USF, it's not going to stop me from loving the mean green. I will salute the flag outside the stadium. There's 3 weird shades of orange, and give me the mean green.
Mean green.
Mean green.
I think
He said shades of orange.
Oh, sorry, green.
I was trying to figure out. I was like, maybe I don't know anything about their flags. The pick's North Texas here, and I think that people will be steered away because their one big game under the spotlight was that USF game, and that's going to put people on the undefeated Navy side. But if you look at Navy's work, yeah, congratulations, they're undefeated thus far, but they had to squeeze out an Air Force, when an Air Force team that's won a couple games this year, Ty, and then they almost lost to Temple too at the very last second. They had to squeeze that one out too. They've been squeezing away. And, all they have to do is get within 6.5. But at the same time, this North Texas offense is absolutely potent. And this Navy defense, I don't think is a team that can really stop the big play. From the game I watched versus Air Force, they were very, very prone to the big play. And I think North Texas can get out big and get out early and win this game handily. I like North Texas a lot. I would have picked this one as my wild card pick. I was surprised to see this one on the slate.
Yeah, I was also going to pick this one as my wild card, although I think Jameson and I would have been on different sides.
Yes.
Little known fact: Air Force has on scoring, on yards. I think they're 1-7 right now. They're maybe 2-6. They have legitimately a top 5 offense in the nation. Still, they are explosive. So yes, North Texas does bring a similar offense that is going to give Navy fits, but I got to go with the midshipmen here. They've had that Temple game was really the only rough looking one. FAU, they won by 10 points, but FAU cleaned it up in garbage time. That was an absolute rout for a long time. Air Force, we just talked about their offense. Rice, again, some garbage time stuff. Tulsa, they haven't really played quality opponents. Is North Texas a quality opponent? They're pretty solid for the group of 5, but I'm going to ride with my midshipmen here. Once again, that against the spread maybe should give you caution. UNT been great at covering the spread, Navy not so much, but I do want to spend a little bit rest of my time mentioning that, of course, head coach Brian Newberry's second year at Navy was 10-3 last year, currently 7-0, looking like another awesome record, has beat Brent Venables head to head. And of course, Brian Newberry is from Norman, Oklahoma, graduate of Westmore High School, and would love to coach the Oklahoma Sooners. OU, if you are listening to this, please get this man in Norman.
I shudder to think about what the message board response would be if we hired Navy's head coach, even though I do like Brian Newberry quite a bit. I'm going to put you on an island, Ty, which is, I guess, not a bad place to be if you're Navy. We're going to go North Texas at home here. Navy hasn't been impressive against the spread. I think that record, looks a little bit squishy, when you kind of look beyond the 7-0 curtain. And I think North Texas is a better team than what we saw against South Florida. I think they get the win, get the cover. But I think this will be an interesting game. I think it'll be a great game of American football. So, yeah,
this is not the first time that Navy has put me on an island, but last time it was Haiti. So hopefully this is a little better than that.
That is funny. That is actually true. Moving on to our next game. We got the 10th ranked Miami Hurricane, 6-1, 5-2 against the spread, heading to everyone's favorite Atlantic outpost, Dallas, Texas, to take on the SMU Mustangs, 5-3 overall, 2-6 against the spread. I think that's right. That seems a little nuts. Miami is a 12.5 point favorite. You can find this one 11 a.m. Central on ESPN. Tough one here. I feel like SMU has been weirdly salty at times, and this could be a tough spot. But for me, Miami on a bounce back after that just dreadful loss at home to Louisville. It is their first game outside of the state of Florida, which is a little weird, but let's not act like Gerald Ford Stadium, which again, as Ty will mention, not named after the president, is exactly, a frightening place to play by any means. I'm going to go Miami to cover the 12.5, just in a bounce back game. I don't love it, but overall, you just look at how SMU has performed against the spread. You look at the venue of this game, and you look at a Miami team that is a lot better than what we saw on that Friday night. I'm going to go with the Canes.
Yeah, I think Miami losing to a SMU team that I think is, well, Miami didn't lose to SMU. Miami losing to a Louisville team that I think is not much better than SMU is certainly going to give people pause, but I think it has helped us here in lowering this line down a little bit. I think maybe people are going to look at things like Bobby said, first game out of the state of Florida, and we're, getting into November now is shocking. But I think that Miami is the don't overthink it pick here. It's, you got to go with the Hurricanes. Yes, SMU has been feisty. Yes, they kind of have that chip on their shoulder thing, especially in conference games. Yes, 12.5. That hook, that 12, worrisome, 11 a.m. Central Time. Not exactly the bright lights, but Miami is going to be used to playing in front of, like SMU could pack the house and get like all 5,000 people that fit in their stadium in there. That is going to be one of the bigger crowds that this Miami team has played in front of this season. So that does worry me, but go ahead and give me the Hurricanes. Give me the U minus 12.5 in this one.
I mean, people are going to these Miami games, Ty.
Yeah, no, they are. I was shocked. I've never seen a football game, pro or otherwise, like that. What was it? Like the first, I got to give Miami their credit. Sorry.
Yeah, that's okay.
I think it was South Florida game where part of
Notre
it was
Dame
packed. It was really cool.
Yeah, probably that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will say this: Miami is one of my favorite teams at the after week 2 probably of the season in college football. Whenever Carson Beck did say like this team has made me love football again, I bought completely in, and I love Malachi Tony as a freshman wide receiver. That guy's going to be absolutely special college football player that we're going to talk about for the next 2 years. And their defense is absolutely stellar. But I think 12.5 is just too much points going on the road. Like Bobby said, first time out of Florida. I think SMU just has a little bit of firepower here to at least put some points on the board while on their home field. And I think that they can keep it within 10. I think SMU beating Clemson on the road last week is something that we shouldn't brush off. Clemson are like, oh, they already have 4 losses. They have bad losses this year. That doesn't really even matter. I still think that's a really damn good win, and it proves that SMU is not just a team that they should just roll over and just get clobbered by in Miami. I think they keep it close enough here to cover.
They did turn around and lose to Wake Forest.
Wake Forest has been kind of dirty this year, though.
They're feisty.
I can tell by the 13-12 score.
I'm telling you, Wake Forest, like, we watched one game together of Wake Forest, Bobby. Like, they're a pretty good team. Like, honestly, they got Scrappy Dogs. Like, they almost beat Scrappy Dogs for Georgia Tech right at the end of that game. Like, every single one of their games have been just really, really close.
They're very well coached. Like, Jacob Dicker was a great coach at Washington State. Like, he's perfect for just scrapping away wins in the ACC.
They beat Kennesaw State 10-9.
That was oh no! And I remember that first week slamming the Wake Forest spread. I was like, Kennesaw State, nothing. They have no talent. Like even a Wake Forest team with a good coach, and they just like are barely scraping by versus the Owls.
Yeah, I think Wake Forest got something weird about them. So I get that. I get people might use that against them. I just think 12.5 is too many points here. But obviously nothing's ever 100%. But I like SMU.
Yeah, Jameson said it pretty good. Like, I'm not choosing SMU because I like SMU at all. I think they're kind of just across the board, just a very average team, like kind of as average can get. But I think that 12.5 is just way too many for a Miami team that I can't seem to trust just to close the door on teams. Like, I'm not saying they're going to lose this one. I think Miami rolls, but they are a team that just allows people to stick around, maybe for a late game comeback. 12.5 is too many for a team that's pretty decently coached and by Rhett Lashley and SMU. So I will be taking the 12.5. They keep it kind of close towards the end.
Okay, there you go. All right, moving on to our next game. We're heading to Lincoln, Nebraska, as the 23rd ranked USC Trojans, 5-2, 4-3 against the spread, take on the Nebraska Cornhuskers, 6-2 overall, 3-5 against the spread. USC a 6.5 point favorite in Lincoln. You can find this one 6:30 p.m. Central on NBC and Peacock. Blake, who do you like?
This just seems like a weird spread to me because I've liked kind of what USC has been able to do this year, but not so much to just be rolling into Lincoln, Nebraska, being close to a touchdown favorite against Nebraska. And I know they lost to that very stinky Minnesota team that we saw last week just go out and get blanked by Iowa in the first quarter and just that game got out of hand quick. But I'm going to go Nebraska here. There hasn't been anything I've seen over the last 2 years that makes me trust USC traveling east, being a heavy favorite and trying to cover it. I do think USC is the better team. I just think that offense is still one of the best in the country. They kind of showed it against Notre Dame, being able to move the ball, but that defense is just not elite enough. I'm going to go Nebraska. This line just seems fishy to me. It makes me think fishy as in I need to be choosing USC because it doesn't make sense that they should be favored this much, but I'll go the Cornhuskers at home.
Yeah, I'm USC. I think some people are starting to hop off by that Notre Dame game, but they went to Notre Dame, to a team who's playing really, really well. From what Notre Dame did at the beginning of the season to what they're doing now, I mean, you got to give them a lot of credit. And I still, from the things that I've seen from USC, I still believe in them. And I understand you might not believe them on the road. They don't have the best track record on the road. But just looking at this Nebraska team, ever since that Penn State firing and the Matt Rule nonsense, there just seems like there's just something weird. And I don't know what's going on behind the scenes there, but obviously the Minnesota loss and then keeping it close versus Northwestern, and it's just things just seem a little bit off in Nebraska that I wouldn't be surprised if USC just comes in and throws a punch at the beginning here and could get themselves a touchdown covered. So I'm just going to base it off I think I feel too weird to pick Nebraska here. So I'm going to go with USC.
Yeah, this one is tough because I tend to lean towards USC in stuff. And it's one of those things where, I look at Nebraska and kind of like Jameson said, there's just, you pull up their schedule. And I think when they lost Minnesota, we were looking at that and saying they might win out with this schedule, especially when we had just heard the Penn State news. So I know Matt Rule has certainly been getting calls from some of these programs that have fired their coaches. So is he distracted? Is he what? But another thing that comes to mind is we were talking about the group text earlier this week, the Big Ten and the SEC championship games are a net negative for your program right now because they don't really do a whole lot to help you in the championship. Yes, if you win, you get a bye week and get a better seed. But if you're the first team that doesn't go to the championship, you also get a bye week. So did Matt Rule pull a masterful move here in losing to Minnesota on purpose to win out and avoid the Big Ten championship?
Here he goes.
Better prepare for the playoff. That does worry me. That he is, because he's smart enough to do that. That's the thing.
Come
Matt Rule.
on. But he would have just tanked the last game to do that. Then he wouldn't tank it.
No, not Northwestern, because they're both in logos, so there's a rivalry there.
Oh my God! Someone please help me here.
But I don't know. Here's the thing. The smart pick. Nebraska is going to straight up win this game. That's the smart pick. But I can't not get me some Lincoln Riley without a defense. So go ahead and give me
the weave.
Go ahead and give me the Trojans.
Oh my God!
In this one, to win big and Lincoln, Nebraska.
This game now.
The USC being favored makes me think that Vegas knows that Rule has already taken another job, and it's going to get announced the second we get off this podcast. So go ahead and give me the Trojans.
This is a really tricky one because I like USC to win this game for sure. Nebraska hasn't beaten a top 25 team in a long time. Like I'm talking like, so I think they're losing streaks like in the 20s at this point on beating top 25 teams. It's atrocious. But that 6.5, I agree, Blake. That's really fishy and just feels like a lot. I'm going to go with the Huskers to keep it just close enough. I don't know if they get the win straight up. I really don't think they do, but I think they turn this into a classic Big Ten rock fight. USC finds a way to win, but Nebraska gets the 6.5 point cover. So
Matt Rule might be one of the least loyal head coaches I've ever seen out there. That man loves to stay at a place for 3 to 4 years and then bounce. He does not want to actually build something meaningful. He is great to turn you around in like a year or two just to get you like winning football to get himself the next job. That guy just
is Matt Rule. Is he the private equity of college football?
Yes.
Well, I thought it was dodgy. Like they asked him, like, yeah, the Penn State job, and instead of being like, "Oh, I'm focused on Nebraska," he's like, "Yeah, I met my wife out there, and had some great memories. I'm a Western Pennsylvania." And just started waxing poetically about it. I'm like, "Oh no, he's gonna take that job if he's offered it." Like he very much didn't do the little sidesteppy thing that all coaches do, and I'm like, "Ooh, that's not great."
I want Matt Rule to go to Penn State so bad just so they get the worst version of James Franklin. Like that would just be hilarious that they go through all this performative firing and just getting rid of saying that they deserve better and then just getting the worst version. I would love that.
Yeah. Bobby's right though. He did everything but say like, I would never be the head coach at Penn State for less than $2.5 million per year with $50 million guaranteed on a 2-year contract. Like
either that or he's about to get paid at Nebraska. We're going to see some record coaching deals this year.
Let me stop you there, Carrie. I'm not going to be the head coach at Penn State. No. All right, moving on to our next game. Moving on to our Big 12 slate. We've got the 13th ranked Texas Tech Red Raiders, 7-1 overall and against the spread, taking on the Kansas State Jayhawks. Jesus, Kansas State Wildcats. Oh, that's a sin right there. The Kansas State Wildcats, 4-4 overall and against the spread. This one, Blake, do you know the significance of this game?
Oh, God. No.
Big 12 not nowhere.
Oh, no. Shield not nowhere, man. This is the 30th anniversary of the Big 12, which, again, you weren't a part of. I guess Texas. Yeah, I guess TCU wasn't a part of it, and, we were one, years old when it happened. But this is a rematch of the very first Big 12 game 30 years ago. So there you go. But Texas Tech favored by 7.5 on the road. You can find this one 2:30 p.m. Central on Fox. Disgusting game because I feel like Tech, overall I've been high on them, but this K-State team just feels really wily. And I know their backup quarterback's out for the season, Texas Tech's, who might have been better than Baron Morton. I don't know the status of Baron Morton right now.
I'll ask crazy to think question later. Don't you worry.
I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. I think K-State upsets them. Like this is a classic K-State situation where they screw around at the start of the year, get a crap record, and then just spend the rest of their season just destroying random Big 12 teams, like just ripping apart their hopes. Like after looking like off, like just dog water earlier. I'm gonna go K-State to cover at home in the Little Apple. So K-State plus 7.5 somehow, just because I think Tech away from Lubbock, just a little different.
Yeah, go ahead and give me the Red Raiders. This is easy. I cede the rest of my time to Jameson so he can do an injury breakdown for us.
Blake, who's the quarterback again for Texas Tech?
Bum Baron Morton, that's who.
So Will Hammond tore his ACL for OSU. Really, really sad. Because Blake said that guy is just as good as Baron Morton, which showed how good of a quarterback that he is, whenever you're that good as Baron Morton. The fact of the matter is, like, this whole lower body injury that Baron Morton has, and it's been, like, kind of in and out, and they're not really telling us much. There's just too much scary. There's too much things that's scaring me right there. I think like Kansas State, they are turning it on. They really just trounced Kansas on the road in a rivalry game, which really like it takes a lot of credit for a team to go into a rivalry game on the road and just destroy Kansas like that. So I think Kansas State is putting good things together, and I think that as a home dog with over a touchdown as a spread, I'm going to take it. So give me Kansas State.
Kansas State's going to murder them. Like, I think this is just going to be one of those shocking ones, and I knew it because I saw a clip, I think it was yesterday, of Reese Davis saying, "Oh, we're already preparing the tortillas to bring game day down to Lubbock for BYU Tech." You know what's going to happen? Tech's going to lose this game outright, ruin their entire plans. I know how this works. That is how it happened. K-State is clicking at the right time. They killed my Frogs. They absolutely mutilated the Jayhawks last week. They are firing on all cylinders. It finally looks like Avery Johnson is feeling himself a little bit. They've gotten that run game going. I don't think Tech is ready. Like, Manhattan is just a hard place to play. It's like, it's one of those, I say that and Morgantown, I feel like are those two environments in the Big 12 right now where it's just, and BYU is the other one, I guess, of just like you go in there, no matter how good or bad the team is, like they're going to put up a fight. I think, yeah, I'm with Bobby. I am Jameson, 7.5 cover. I'm going to be sprinkling a little bit on the money line. Like, I think this could derail potentially Tech's chances of making the Big 12 championship. I'm so excited for this game.
This is by far the easiest doing a super dog on. By far. Out of anyone that's like a high underdog, this is by far the easiest chance to get a money line win.
Yeah, 7.5 hook, money line potential. It's tasty. Might be too tasty. But all right, moving on to our next game in the Big 12. We've got the Arizona State Sun Devils, 5-3 overall, 4-4 against the spread. Heading to Ames to take on the Iowa State Cyclone, also 5-3, 4-4 against the spread. Iowa State, a 7.5 point favorite. You can find this one noon on for the first time ever on the weekend spread. I can't believe I'm saying this. You can find this one on TNT or HBO Max.
TNT has been doing an excellent job with their coverage this year. Like, don't have the resources, but they're doing an excellent job.
Yeah,
I watched an Oklahoma State game on there, and it felt really weird. It felt really weird.
It does feel a little weird, but I will say this. It's like, in a way, we make fun of the CW. I think the CW actually does a pretty decent job of covering the game that is actually going on in front of them.
Except it's like, for their app is impossible to use.
That is your fault. It is a local channel that, like, it is no big company that is like on the like forefront of making good streaming apps. It's the CW.
I don't want to watch Seven's Heaven on my CW college football channel.
Well, we got Franklin and Bash on this one.
You're right, which is a much better show. I heard that Falling Skies and Claws are really good TV.
I was like, Claws. I haven't seen one of those ads in a while.
Well, I like that they do the studio show from Studio J, where they do all the inside the NBA stuff. Like it's kind of cool. I like TNT.
They do. So. They do a great job. Like, my biggest complaint about college football these days is that people will commentate games and will be talking about everything else besides the actual game. It's usually around a certain network that is doing it more than others, but I won't launch into that. I heard Sam Levitt's out. I'm not doing the Jeff Sims experiment again. And that one was unknowing. I know now. I'm not doing that. I'm taking ISU. ISU really looked great last week. They were moving the ball through, like, from the ground on we saw the success rate chart down to down. They were killing BYU. The only problem was Rocco Becht was their quarterback, and he made some atrocious picks, just like staring down the linebacker in the flat, just hit him right in the chest. Like, these were some bad ones, not your random tip drill ones that it's not really the quarterback's fault. Nope. He was just misreading stuff all over, throwing it right to the defense. They keep the ball on the ground. This ASU team, no Sam Levitt. It doesn't matter if you don't have Sam Levitt because Jordan Tyson's ineffective with Jeff Sims as quarterback. So, yep, I'm just not signing up for it. If I lose this, I lose this, but I'm not losing with Jeff Sims again. I'm not. So give me ISU and the Cyclones.
Dude, and Jordan Tyson's questionable with the hamstring.
Okay.
I picked, and like he could play whenever you're questionable. Like, a lot of times in college football, you end up playing, but you never know. I will say this: I looked and trying to make my wild card picks before looking at our current spread. which was bad choice because this one was my slam, put everything on Iowa State. Like this is my pick. I felt really, really confident about it. Levinson a boot. He's not playing. Like you do not trust Sims. Jordan Tyson might not even be playing. Arizona State has not looked good. Like remember that Utah game? Remember how bad that was? What was it? 42-10 whenever Levitt didn't play. And like this Arizona State team, even with Levitt out there, honestly was underperforming to what people thought they could be at the past couple weeks. Iowa State, yes. Have they been on a losing streak? I get that. But at the same time, like Blake said, they looked decent in spots last week. I've got a lot more optimism to grab at, and I'm not scared of a hook with the 7.5. I'll take Iowa State here very handily and feel very, very confident about it.
Yeah, unfortunately, I kind of concur with Jameson here with, Jordan Tyson still maybe not playing, still maybe not 100%. With Sam Levitt out, this ASU team is just not a team that you can rely on to put points on the board. I mean, they're going to look like 3-4 times better, but they're going to look like OU's offense in some moments. So it's not going to be solid for my beloved Sun Devils. Forks up, but I'm going to have to ride, unfortunately, with the Cyclones at home. We are too late in the season for me to make prideful picks. I will say this is, I think, ASU's third game on HBO now this season. I know Texas State was on HBO. Not sure if that was on the slate or not. And then one of the earlier ones was as well. So kind of just a weird coincidence the way these have fallen. But give me the Cyclones, unfortunately, to get the win at home.
Yeah, I mean, y'all summed it up perfectly. When you have the Jeff Sims experience and no Levitt, Arizona State goes from like a really pretty good team, they can beat anyone on any given day, blah, 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 to, oh God, this is going to get really bad. Iowa State, last week wasn't as bad as that final score indicated. Yeah, they're going to win this one. Love Iowa State 7.5 here for sure. Moving on to our next game, the final one in the Big 12, the 17th ranked Cincinnati Bearcats, 7-1 overall, 6-2 against the spread. They're heading to Rice-Eccles Stadium in Salt Lake City to take on the Utah Utes, ranked 24th in the country, 6-2 overall, 6-2 against the spread. Utah, a 10.5 point favorite at home. You can find this one nice and late, 9:15 p.m. Central on ESPN. Love this. Nice little Pac-12 after dark action, except you randomly have Cincinnati in it. I'll kick us off here. This one's really tricky to me because I have liked Sorsby quite a bit. Like I think Cincy is a damn good team, but at night at Rice-Eccles, I see why the line is what it is. Give me Utah. I know I might be making a simpleton's decision, and I've faded Cincy like way too many times, but I just feel like that environment, the altitude, all of that, I think that matters. I think Utah wins, and I think they splatter them a little bit. And I don't think that's going to be a huge indictment on Cincy. It just feels like one of those culminations of just a big day, big setup, and a big opportunity for Utah. So give me the Utes.
Yeah, I have a question for everyone in general. Everyone knows about the LA Coliseum, which is owned by the city of Los Angeles, correct? It's also a storied college football venue. Does everyone know how many Olympic ceremonies the LA Coliseum has hosted? And how many Olympics?
Of course I know that off the top of my head.
It's 2, and they're about to host their third.
Exactly.
The only venue to have hosted 2, let alone 3.
Do you guys know what venue is about to host its second Olympic ceremony?
Rice-Eccles Stadium.
Rice-Eccles Stadium. It's wild, but that's the Winter Olympics for you. Also, did you know that Rice-Eccles is actually owned by the University of Utah, unlike USC, who has to rent a city park to host their football games? So go ahead and give me the Utes at home. You can't give me the Utes at night. You can't give me the Utes at home at night. The people from Cincinnati are not going to know what's going on. They're going to see the mountains. And they're going to think they're large trees or some sort of feral animal that's coming at them. They're not going to know what those are. They're going to be very confused. They're not going to know what's happening. They're going to get to Utah's campus because Utah's not a commuter school, and they're going to be very confused by all the dorms. They're going to be like, what are those? Why are people living here? It's going to be a total culture shock for the Cincinnati Bearcats. So go ahead and give me the Utah Utes at home, -10.5 at night on ESPN in front of the bright LED lights. I'm sure there's plenty of conspiracy theories online about what LED lights do or don't do to you. So I'm going to cede the rest of my time before I start Googling LED light conspiracy theories.
So you look at this and you see like Cincinnati's done really well this year. I believe in them a lot. But the way Utah has turned things and the way that they're looking right now looks exceptional. Like versus Colorado at home, absolutely trounced them without Devin Dampier. Like you really got to show out. And like the availability reports just came out within like the past hour, and this guy's off the availability reports. He should be the starting quarterback for Utah. I think Utah should run and get out and really hurt Cincinnati here a lot. I think you guys are right here. I like Utah 2 touchdowns.
People be underestimating Brendan Sorsby. And so if you're going to put me on the island, I am taking it 1000% because this guy is playing like the best quarterback in the Big 12 right now. He looks spectacular. Leading, obviously, in passing last week versus Baylor, but also their leading rusher as well. He is destroying defenses by himself. And Utah has great pieces. They have great little things all around, but when they play some team with some actual strength and some actual competition, they seem to fold. We saw it against BYU. We saw it against Texas Tech. Like, this is just going to kind of be the same thing. It's like Utah is built to crush the weak, but them themselves, they're just kind of like a bully of the week. They'll get bullied. They'll get eaten. They'll get eaten by a bigger shark, and that bigger shark, Cincinnati. Another one that I'm going to be eyeing the money line a little bit, but Brendan Sorsby's been fantastic. And also, I love that one of the other leading rushers, Tyree Walker, a throwback for Cincinnati, just absolutely bruising people.
Yeah, we should talk about another running back. We should have given way more burn back in the day. But anyways, all right, let's move on to our SEC slate, starting with the world's largest outdoor cocktail party. That's the Florida Gators, fresh off firing old Sunbelt Billy. They're sitting at 3-4, 2-5 against the spread. They're heading to Jacksonville, taking on the 5th-ranked Georgia Bulldogs, 6-1, 3-4 against the spread. I think this is the last one in Jacksonville for a while, actually, guys. So that should be interesting. Georgia, only a mere 7.5-point favorite. You can find this one 2:30 p.m. Central on ABC. Blake, who do you like?
Look, Billy Napier was good at acquiring talent, and I think this number is so short just because they still recognize that Florida is a talented team. But with Billy Napier gone and kind of the guy that was really just pumping up the locker room still, I don't know what we're going to see from this Florida team. And I'm a little bit scared that it's coming like they got a bye week to get their stuff together, but also Georgia had a bye week to get their stuff together. It's not like Georgia was on the road last week, had to scrap it out and coming in. You're getting a fully prepared Kirby Smart at whoever, I don't even know who the interim coach is for Florida. I think this one's going to be bad. I think it's going to be really bad for Florida. I know rivalry games. I know sometimes these naturally stay a little bit closer. Looking at like the past results, it's like this Georgia team has been way better, but it seems like Billy Napier was pretty good at covering the spreads, even when they were like double-digit ones. I'm going to go Georgia, though. I think Georgia just... although not spectacular this year, it's like that defense is still great. Their offense has a pulse. We haven't seen Florida really consistently be able to move the ball yet, and I don't think that changes with the firing of Billy Napier. So I think it's just going to be ugly. Give me Georgia.
I'm so disappointed that Blake didn't end up doing there's just something about Florida. I just keep coming back to.
They played for Billy Napier. I'll give them that.
Yeah.
They really played. And granted, they played really hard, but they weren't coached well, so they were just playing hard, not really getting results, just leaving it on the field for absolutely nothing. But, yeah, it's...
Bingo. They played for Billy Napier. We always talk about this bump I don't think it's going to be here. I think Georgia has this special power this season of covering, and 7.5 will deter people. It's not going to deter me. Georgia by double digits.
Here's the thing. Every major team that has fired their coach this season has immediately covered the week after. UCLA, Penn State. I'm gonna miss some in here, so don't try to gotcha me. I'm just giving quick examples. UAB, it's every single team has immediately covered after firing their head coach. I don't think it happens in this one though. I don't think it happens in this one though. Florida breaks the streak, like Jameson said, like Blake said. They didn't know what they were doing, but they had heart, and they got up and they played for Coach Napier. He did have that going for him. Florida does have some talent. And yes, sometimes there is just something about Florida, but we are late enough in the season that these teams have shown you who they are. And you cannot pick Florida going into Georgia and expect Georgia not to cover this one after they fired their head coach. The 2:30 p.m. SEC game, the lights are on Georgia. If you're a Georgia fan, you're thinking that you're the favorites for the national championship this year. You're thinking that your team is now better because they've lost. You're thinking that you got lucky in Tennessee. We'll get to a Tennessee game coming up here in a second. And you think that you're in a good place because you're a Georgia homer. And in this game, you are in a good place against the Gators. Give me the Bulldogs.
Yeah. In a rivalry game, Kirby Smart is a bit of a psycho overall, but the Florida's they're in a wounded position here. I think Georgia runs it up on them here. I know that hook looks scary. I don't care. I don't need it. Give me the Dogs to roll in Jacksonville. Moving on to our next game, we've got the 9th-ranked Vanderbilt Commodores, 7-1, 6-2 against the spread, heading down to Austin to take on the Texas Longhorns, ranked 20th in the country, 6-2 overall, 2-6 against the spread. UT, a 2.5-point favorite. You can find this one 11 a.m. Central on ABC. A bit of a fun little inverse here with OU Tennessee. Both of your kind of rivals playing each other here. Look, I've said all season I am not betting against Diego Pavia, and if you've noticed a trend, I always tend to kind of fade Texas. I've hit on a couple actually. I do fade Texas all the time. Island Boyd, them last week, and was almost successful with a straight up win. I might add. So naturally, one would think that easily. I'm taking Vanderbilt 2.5. That's a lock, and it's not. I'm going to go with the Texas Longhorns 2.5 because this to me feels like one of those situations where you really want something to happen, and it just doesn't. Because as much as I would love Diego Pavia to go in there and ruin Texas's dreams, all of that, even with the Arch Manning injury, questions around that, I just think Texas, these dumbasses find a way to win this game and cover that spread. So Texas 2.5's to play.
Yeah, I was fully prepared to maybe pick Vanderbilt in this one, but if people are hopping off the Diego Poverty train,
oh my God, just pick what
horns
you want,
up, horns up, baby. It does concern me that Arch is allegedly now concussed because his head touched grass, and babies can crawl around on grass perfectly fine. So I don't Arch bumped his head on some grass and now has a headache and can't play football. That is worrisome. But give me horns up. I'm with Bobby. I think Texas is just evil enough to keep this one close and then win by a field goal or a touchdown or something. 2.5 is at home for Texas. It's just very worrisome to me. I think Texas is going to play terribly and give people hope all game and then just squeak it out. So unfortunately, I think we got a sort of a Mississippi State 2.0, but maybe a little bit better play from Texas. So give me the Horns -2.5.
I think where Texas' defense can really shine and have a bounce back here is going against a mobile quarterback. Their athletes that they have in their front seven can really give Diego some problems. Like Colin Simmons with the pass rush and Anthony Hill is going to roam the field and really, really make it hard for Diego to get those 10, 15-yard runs that really kind of break away and chip away at drives and get them close into the red zone. And I think that's what people need to talk about more in this game. People will be kind of focusing more on like, oh, is Arch going to play? Is he not going to play? Is he concussed? All that stuff. But like really what it comes down to is I think Texas defense is going to get a lot of bad rap from that Mississippi State game. But I think that they're going to bounce back in this one. And even with Arch, like this guy practiced today. And if you know anything about concussion protocols, that means he's probably step 3/4 of the protocol right now, to where like he's most likely going to play if he continues to progress without symptoms. And he got pulled over by Texas PD yesterday while driving around campus. So he seems like he's doing okay. I wouldn't be surprised if Arch plays. Texas goes and handles Vanderbilt in this one. So give me Texas 2.5.
Yeah, I hate to keep it boring, but Vanderbilt has been impressive, I think, overall as a team. I think Diego Pavia has been getting a little too much hype for their success this year. In the two games that kind of have been the big ones, Bama, Mizzou, he's looked pretty unimpressive, both of those games. Like, I'm not saying bad, or Bama looked bad, but like last week, I wouldn't say he looked very impressive versus Mizzou, and I really thought Mizzou should have won that game, probably if Bo Perbula didn't go down. But
and then that goal line stand, and it seems like Missouri could never actually finish it. They were right there many times to take the momentum and take that game, and they just couldn't.
Yep, I was like I thought I came away with that just being like Mizzou is probably the better team. But yep, I'm just not going to buy the hype here with Vanderbilt against a Texas team that seems to be able to pull these wins. Like they just keep on pulling out wins. Like I'll give them credit. Like it made me very, very upset last week when they pulled off the upset versus Mississippi State. But the fact that they didn't give up even down 17 going like in the fourth, you're still fighting back. Like I like what I saw from that. And I'm also not going to be too bad that like you got gassed by a air raid style, like Art Briles style offense in the first half. And then it kind of like crumbled and you were able to come back. Like those offenses are meant to get out early, get you running fast. So I like Texas here. The defense is too good. I think Vanderbilt doesn't play like quick enough or anything to really exploit that. And I think Diego Pavia will kind of get in his head a little bit thinking like, ooh, I can scramble on these guys, and he really can't. So I think this is kind of where Vanderbilt's magical run comes to the end. So I'm taking Texas.
All right. Sweet for Texas. By the way, do y'all know the last time Texas played a home game in Austin? It was UTEP. So they've been away from home for a while. So, all right, kicking off. Let's wrap this up with our just a massive game, a game everyone's super pumped about. It's the 18th ranked Oklahoma Sooners, 6-2 overall, 4-4 against the spread, heading to Rocky Top to Neyland, dark mode to take on the 14th ranked Tennessee Volunteers, who are also 6-2, 4-4 against the spread. Tennessee is a tree fitty favorite, 3.5-point favorite in a massive, some are calling a playoff elimination game. You can find this one at 6:30 p.m. Central under the Neyland lights on ABC. Blake, who do you like?
The fact that this game has playoff implications is just kind of sad in my eyes. These teams do not look like playoff teams just off the eyes, but I know that's kind of what this year is. It's like the parity is kind of balancing things out. Not any teams are looking great, but I'm going to take OU in the points here. I still believe, even after last week's performance, in OU's defense. Like, they were able to confuse and get Trinidad uncomfortable at times, which I think will be great against Joey Aguilar, who is just a man that's bound to make mistakes. I'm just waiting for it. I think Mateer's going to put it together. It's like what I saw at the beginning of the year. I'm just like hoping something in his brain just rattles off and he's able to do it, because it seems like something's just wrong. He's just not making good scramble decisions. He's not making, like, when he's scrambling, it's like the pockets collapse too much, and it's just, I don't know, there's just something not clicking there, just from my perspective. But I just gotta go OU in the revenge factor. I like Tennessee. I don't think Tennessee's that great. I think that offense, they can push the ball down the field, but I think also it can go a little cold at times and can't win you games. So, this is a styles make fights game. Great defense, great offense. Who's going to come out of it? I'm just trusting that the defense on the road and John Mateer kind of putting some things together keeps it close. So Give me OU plus 3.5.
I hear you, Blake. But from watching this Oklahoma team this season, and especially what we saw in the Ole Miss game, I think our biggest weakness to where this defense can kind of fall apart and really put a lot of pressure on our offense, which maybe doesn't have as much as they can in handling that much pressure and that much weight of a game, is going against an air raid really good passer. And from what I've seen this year, Joey Aguilar has been exceptional. I think that he can go out there, make plays, and really put a lot of pressure on this OU secondary that playing Ole Miss and Trinidad Chambliss last week, like he diced us up 300 plus yards in a rainy kind of misty game, and it looked easy for him. I think that it's really what it's going to come down to is how good is Chris Brazzell going to look versus a true freshman cornerback guarding him, Cortland Guillory. I strongly doubt that we're going to put Eli Bowen on him just because of the sheer size difference of like 6 inches between the two. And so it's a lot to put on a true freshman in one of the hardest environments to play in college football. I really do worry that, yes, our defense is going to look good on some drives, and Tennessee may fizzle out in some drives, but I guarantee you Tennessee is going to put up, 24 plus points. Do I believe Oklahoma to really be at that point where they can also put 24 plus points? If Tennessee gets in the 30s, it's ball game, and they're covering 3.5 easy. That's my concern with this Oklahoma offense, because we say, Mateer is going to get better every single week. Now it's getting to a point where he's getting over the mental side of it. Like his thumb is good enough. It might not be 100%, but now he's trying to figure out, am I confident enough to make this throw? And should I be worried about my decision making thus far? Because even whenever I was healthy, I was throwing the ball into bad lanes, getting my players hurt, as well as throwing interceptions versus non-conference games where I should not be. And I guarantee you he's a little bit in his head right now, and that's not what you want from an alpha quarterback. I think all in all, Oklahoma can win this game if they establish the run and go after a Tennessee defense that has shown holes this year. I just think that if this is a high-scoring game, which I think that it will be, unfortunately, I don't think Oklahoma can keep up, and I think Tennessee covers 3.5.
Yeah, as amazing as OU's defense has been this year, OU has had a terrible time defensively at really causing our opponents to make big, big mistakes. And I think when you go into Neyland Stadium in front of over 100,000 people, a night game, dark mode, all of the passion, all of the energy that's in this, you need things like turnovers, and you need things like a defense that is imposing enough that causes your opponent to get some penalties and things like that. OU is 122nd in the nation for offensive penalties when our defense is on the field. We are 130th in the nation for fumbles, and we are 125th in the nation for interceptions. We are terrible at creating turnovers. We are terrible at causing penalties. And obviously that's, kind of an odd statistic, but this OU defense is in the top 10 in everywhere, but in dealing with opponents and creating big mistakes for opponents. Sorry, I can't talk today. And that is crucial in a game like this where I'm with Jameson. I don't think that I can count on this OU offense to really put points on the board, even if Mateer is doing better. And I hope that I am wrong, because we have had explosive run plays 2 weeks in a row. So I hope that something has clicked in the run game, but I've been burned by believing in OU's run game enough times now for the past several years that I'm not going to hold my breath for that. This one could go either way for sure. But again, I think 2 or 3 games off of Bobby. We're too late in the season for me to play around with this. I have to avoid the punishment. I have to take Tennessee minus 3.5 in this one.
Yeah. It's just business on this. And to me, just looking at how this game feels and the environment of that dark mode, which we've talked about a lot with our friends at Channel TN. This is a game that Oklahoma will have to play disciplined. It's going to have to offensively, succeed against a defense that, as Tennessee fans have admitted, is not very good. But overall, it's going to have to thrive in an environment it has not played in at all this year. There are 2 road games, the true road games. One was Temple, Jameson, you and I saw that one. That was hardly any sort of environment whatsoever.
Yeah, just throw that one out.
Yeah,
just say South Carolina.
No, and South Carolina at 11 a.m. a fan base that had basically given up at that point. So now you're going at night and in a crazy environment already. But then you have the whole dark mode thing, which I didn't realize until this week is like, it's like a holiday for these people. Like, it changes everything. It changes the way they do things. It's their first night game of the season, apparently. They haven't had like pretty much any night games at Neyland. So that's a dangerous position. I remember some OU days where the Big 12 was giving us 11 a.m.s, 2:30s, and then you get that one night game against like Texas Tech, and everyone just goes nuts. So that's a dangerous position to be in. And I think Ole Miss showed that if you can give your quarterback a lot of time, they can dice up that OU secondary. OU's defense is predicated on getting pressure to the quarterback and making them make mistakes. Joey Aguilar at home has been excellent, like composure-wise. He's making big throws, and they have just a group of wide receivers that it's the best in the SEC, and one of the best in the country. It's an awful place to try to get back at. I fear that OU's offense isn't going to have as much success as Tennessee fans are thinking. I get that they're down on their defense. I totally understand, but it's a crazy environment. It's going to be very difficult. And I think Tennessee 3.5 is the play. I think Oklahoma can win the game, but they're going to have to create turnovers. They're going to have to win the turnover battle, and they're going to have to move competently on offense. And they haven't done either of those really all season long. I don't want to say competent. They got to do more than be competent in a tough road environment. They got to be disciplined in a tough road environment. And I just don't see the evidence on tape yet that they can do that. So hopefully they prove me wrong. Hopefully it's a Sooner magic moment for, the century here. And, we can really change the perspective on the season, because if Venables wins in Neyland under these circumstances, it would be a program-defining, program-changing win for the time being, and would obviously change the tenor of the entire season. Because at that point, essentially, you need to win out your home games and, be competitive against Alabama, and there you go. You have to run the ball great. I agree. Modern prospector in the comments. If Xavier Robinson has a semblance of a game like we saw against Ole Miss, that bodes well for the Sooners. Just in terms of what I've seen on paper, I'm going with the Vols to cover.
Okay. I'm using my switch. If y'all are all off OU, I do not.
Have you been watching a different OU? You need to check your TV.
Well,
you may have like 2017 reruns or something going, Blake.
Well, and what's so funny is the Tennessee fans are all off Tennessee right now.
Yeah, that's my thing. Is all I've been seeing is everybody off their team.
But that's the thing, though. It's like the Ole Miss thing. It's like, yes, your defense is bad. Our offense is so much worse. Like, it doesn't matter how bad your defense is.
Yeah, but I think too, like, their offense feel like the thing is when me and Rainey were talking on the Vols perspective pod, they talked about how much better the O-line was. That was the thing that got me, because that was one of the things about Tennessee's offense last year. You can say whatever about Nico, but that offensive line was not good. And the fact that they've made a jump on the O-line end, that gives me a lot of pause, because the Venables defense is really, really good at playing crazy aggressive. But if they can't impact the quarterback, they can be beat.
Yep, I feel better about the switch.
Yeah. So we'll see how it plays out. But again, hopefully I'm very, very wrong. Time for 3 of the 4 of our favorite picks of the week. I can't say ours anymore because it's not mine.
Why aren't the brakes working? Because I cut the brakes! Wild card, bitches! Yeah! What? Oh, God! Christ, guys, I can't stop this fast!
Yeah, it's time for the wild card pick, where we make our favorite pick from outside of the slate. Oh, boys. I forgot to switch the little icon. it's been an interesting ride. Jameson is running an unbelievable year, 9-0. We often say that. I often say these are just for fun. Don't take this as like serious gambling advice. But honestly, at this point, if you're not tailing Jameson, you really should be tailing Jameson. He's 9-0. Nobody.
Oh, what the heck happened?
Yeah.
Nobody has done it better than Jameson, is what he was going to say.
Nobody.
Nobody.
Yeah,
Nobody's
we
done
lost
it,
you, Bobby.
done it better than Jameson so far. Blake's 5-4, Ty 3-7, and I'm last at a lowly 2-8. It has been just a brutal time. But Jameson, how are you feeling 9-0?
It feels good, but now it's starting to get like I have to continue it. And the problem was, like I said earlier in the podcast, there's some games I really liked this week, and I realized they ended up on our spreadsheet. Like the Arizona State Iowa State game, I thought no way we're gonna put that dirty game on. There's no Levitt on this game. Like that's gonna be just a gross one, and I'll just throw Iowa State and feel really damn good about it on there. I'm like, damn, that sucks. North Texas Navy was gonna do it. Damn. So I'm having to get in there in the mud. So I don't know how dirty I want to be. I might be really dirty, so we'll figure it out.
Fair enough. That sounds fun to me. I don't blame you. I'm just so depressed, guys. I really don't know what to do here. I'm at a loss for words. I'm just grasping at straws. None of these games feel good because everything I pick just turns to hell. I'm gonna go with a team that probably has no hope at this point. And one of the few games I have won is riding with Ohio State. I'm gonna ride with the Buckeyes minus 20.5. I feel like you got a tasty hook here. I don't care. Whatever. Who cares anymore? I'm depressed. I'm just gonna ride with the Buckeyes 20.5. Sure. What the hell? Whatever.
You see that, Ty? He's giving Penn State power.
Yeah, that's a smart move. And I don't hate it. I don't hate it because I'm in basically the same boat as Bobby. I know Bobby's getting a lot of crap for his wild cards. It's really because he started out so terribly that he gets crap about it, and I don't, even though we're like functionally the same score. So I thought I was doing something good last week by going with Bama. This week I got Bobby. Can I say piss? I got a ride with.
You can say piss. Piss is allowed. I got
a ride with fading someone, and this team, when they lose, they get the piss beat out of them, and that is the West Virginia Mountaineers. So I am picking for the first time ever in a wild card the Houston Cougars.
What? This dude is one of the biggest Houston haters. Here he goes.
I do hate Houston because they squandered De'Aaron King in 2016 when he could have won the Heisman if they weren't so maybe it was 2018. One of those years when De'Aaron King was there, they squandered him. So go ahead and give me Houston because here's the thing. If you're Houston, you're 7-1, you're 22nd in the nation, you're thinking that your season is still alive. And their season maybe is still alive with one loss to Texas Tech. They got to get through West Virginia. They got to get through UCF. They got to get through TCU. They got to get through Baylor. But if you run the table through that, that's a really solid Big 12 record. Is that a solid national record? I don't know. It's a really solid Big 12 record. Houston has beat some people. Houston is not afraid to beat people. They're not a team that's going to get up and back off with like 10-point lead, with a 10-point lead. So go ahead and give me Houston because if you look at West Virginia, when they lose a game, like I said, they get the piss beaten out of them. They collapse. Except for Ohio, but like Kansas collapse, Utah collapse, BYU collapse, UCF
They didn't collapse against us.
They didn't collapse against TCU. That's TCU for you. Give me the Houston Cougars, the commuter school themselves, to take the win. Oh, I gotta to take the win by 13
and a half.
13 and a half.
Yeah.
I didn't even know what it was. I just saw Houston playing West Virginia. I said, absolutely. Give me Houston 13 and a half.
I'm about to do something really weird and dirty. I don't know why I'm doing this, but the thing is, like, I've been picking games these past 3 or 4 weeks. I felt exceptionally confident in, like, feel really damn good. And the games that I wanted to pick this week are gone. So I'm just gonna have to do something really dirty. And I kind of like getting in the dirt, getting in the mud and wrestling around. I'm gonna pick Clemson 2.5 point favorites versus Duke at home
Oh,
to
reliable.
recoup. And you're saying, like, what the hell is he doing? You're like, oh, it's Clemson at home. Like, they've been losing at home. Who cares? Kate Klubnik was out last week, and I understand the backup still threw for 303, but going against SMU's defense, they just said, I'm going to dare you to throw in this run defense. We're just going to not let anything with the run game. I think Cade Klubnik will come back, bring a little bit more balance to this team, come back as a leader, and get Duke, a team that I think is playing really good football right now, and is a team that really could go out and put up a big win versus Clemson. I wouldn't be surprised, but it's a team that they've been keeping things, close and then just not finishing games at the end. I think Clemson can get a 2.5 point favorite here. But let me tell you something. I felt a lot better about my past 3 weeks. But let's just do it. Get back, you said, Bobby, on all reliable. Pick Clemson 2.5 versus Duke.
It's like that's a risky one. It feels like Duke is just primed to like knock off just one of these big boys whenever they're.
It is risky, and I told you I needed to get dirty with it, and I am doing it. Unfortunately, I thought about picking Mississippi State plus 4.5 versus Arkansas, but you can never guarantee Arkansas at home. And then I also, there was one dirty thing I really, really thought about, but it was exceptionally dirty, was picking Maryland home plus 21.5 versus Indiana.
Oh, yuck.
I will say if you're not afraid of picking a rivalry game, you have atrocious Air Force versus atrocious West Point, with an Air Force team that offensively should cover that game pretty easily. But
I looked at that game, but I was staying far, far away from all rivalry games because you never know what's going to happen.
Yep. Bobby almost killed him this week, so I will this week. It's Cal plus the 4.5 versus UVA. UVA's just been floating. They've been floating by the last few weeks, and it's a great storyline. So it'd be nice if they won this game. Didn't cover, but won the game. But man, they are just flirting with disaster. And I feel like Cal at home is one of those teams where it's a difficult place to go play just because of the travel in the ACC. There's no fans there, but teams seem to trip up all the time when they go there. I like their quarterback at Cal, that young freshman. He's gonna talk about a guy that's gonna be an absolute, like, gonna get a haul in the portal. Former Oregon quarterback for like 2 weeks and then going to Cal. I think Cal kind of trips them up here. I think UVA kind of meets their match, and Cal's just a good enough team to give them a fight. So I'm going to take the Golden Bears plus the 4.5 at home.
And there's something about going cross country for a game.
Yeah, I don't get it. I didn't think it was a thing in the modern day and age where we have all these comfortable planes that you can put people on. Like, you have all these accommodations to make it easy, but it seems like the Big Ten and the ACC show that if you go cross country in college, like, you're primed to get upset.
It's the frequency of it, I think, more than anything. It's too much.
I just don't get it. Like, USC hasn't been able to figure out UCLA, Cal.
I think it's the athletes. I think at the pro level, they're used to it. At the college level, you just have too many 18-year-olds coming in every year that are like used to like a school bus, like a 7-hour ride on a school bus to go play in Woodward, Oklahoma or something. And then you put them on a chartered plane and they're like, they lose their mind.
Well, because they're doing other stuff too. Like it's not their job. Yeah. It kind of is, but it's not really.
Yeah.
But what is so different about it? Like, when I travel, like, in continental America, I don't get to, like, one of the coasts and be like, oh my God, I'm so tired. I can't do anything. Oh,
no. I think they're like, they think they've made it. Like, they're like big baller status. They're like, I actually have, funny enough, sitting right here on my table from the Cardinals plane, a little sticker.
Oh, that's sick.
Applicable to, I went and toured it.
Nice.
Maybe a little sticker, but they have a couple. They have 2 planes now, but I think they lose their minds. I think they're like 18, 19 years old, and they think they're, I don't know. They think they're balling, and they get on like a chartered United plane, and sit in their little economy class seat and they're just balling. And I think they lose
Well,
their minds. I don't think it's a lack of sleep or anything.
Well, and I mean, in the pros, they're professionals. These guys have been doing it for years. It's just it's old hat at that point. I don't know. It's weird though. And keep in mind it's a new practice in college football with some of these road trips. Even the seniors, juniors, they've only been doing this 2 years, so it's just a weird, different deal, to say the least. All right, well, that's all we.
I would sell that to recruits, but I don't know if football recruits like planes.
Well,
but if I were in the Big Ten, I'd be like, yo, come to Cal. We can. You know the difference between a 777 and a 767? You're about to.
I can hear PJ Flex saying that exact same thing to me right now, and I'm just glazed over.
I'll give you an extra Fleck coin if you can tell me the difference of these planes.
You know the difference between the de-icing fluids in Minnesota and Minneapolis?
All right. Well, that's all we have for week 10 of the weekend spread. I'm excited for OU Tennessee. I know obviously a bit of a dour prediction, but I'm excited to go to Neyland. First time out in East Tennessee. Really, really looking forward to it. Just very excited to get to experience that town. I know we've had our history in the past with them, but overall, every Vol fan I've met in person has been great. And just excited to see what is, one of the cooler venues in college football and what should just be an awesome spot. So incredibly pumped about that. Hopefully the Sooners can pull off some little bit of Sooner magic, kind of like they did in 2015 with Baker Mayfield. But Ty?
Yeah, well, first off, 2015 was just a better team that was unprepared and got down. That wasn't Sooner magic, but
it was absolutely Sooner magic, man. That was crazy.
What hat will you be wearing, Bobby, to the game?
What hat will I be wearing? It's gonna be my classic. It's gonna be my Disco U hat. The the Twister hat. From the Philip Seymour Hoffman style Twister hat. In
case Tennessee fans need to spot you.
What? Well, I don't know.
No, to say hi.
Yeah. not go after me. Some of them still mad.
Get him, get him, boy.
Because they might be mad about what I'm about to say.
Let's throw him in the river.
Totally pointing the finger right now, Bobby.
Yeah.
I'm just an honest little Schooner Pod member. I don't
know how to deal with it because they got upset at me for saying that Josh Heupel was a better coach than Brent Venables. And then all the replies were like, at least he's better than Brent Venables. And I was like, yeah, that was the whole bit.
Well, it is funny how I've seen on Vol Twitter them be like, are we sure we should keep the Heupel? And I'm like a year ago, you were like, we will kill anybody who is saying a single thing against our sweet baby boy, Josh Heupel. And now they're like, I don't know if the whole, 38-14, if that's decent enough for us. Like the fringes of all Twitter. I'm like, guys, it's a pretty good setup you got going here. What are we talking about?
There's probably like 4 or 5 college fan bases that are actually happy with their team, and then just everybody else is miserable. Like, I don't get it. Even the good teams just hate their coaches.
Well, like you say, it's only the teams that have just fired their coach thinking that they're magically going to do better. Like Penn State, I cannot wait for 8-4 in perpetuity for Penn State.
Like what James Franklin was doing there was actually somewhat impressive, of at least getting you to the point where you had 2 opponents on your schedule that you knew you were going to lose to, but you can win those other 10 games. Like that's great. That is a great.
They fired him.
How they did in the postseason last year, honestly.
Yeah.
They fired him too early.
They were this close to a national title berth. Like, come on.
2 losses. If those losses are only Ohio State and maybe Michigan or someone else that's solid, that's auto playoffs every year at Penn State with the 12.
It's like they had the coach. They had the coach for the perfect playoff era type of just get you to double-digit wins to get you in. It doesn't matter about who you beat. Just if you get some quality losses and your record looks nice,
as long
we'll get you in.
As long as you have those the star metric.
Well, I think too, when you're paying the coaches a ton of money and you're paying the players a ton of money, it's like if you're not getting wins out of that money, the pressure just ramps up. Like it used to be, it used to just be you're burning it from one end with the coaches, but now that you're burning it on rosters, it just ramps up the intensity to win now, and I think that's the biggest thing. But
there's just not enough available coaches out there to fill these spots. There's not enough good coaches.
It is a weird game of musical chairs. Week 11, though, taking a gander, it's a bye week for the Sooners. But you got that aforementioned BYU Texas Tech game that could be pretty massive in Lubbock if Tech doesn't blow it in Ames, which they probably will. Texas A&M and Missouri in Columbia, something to look out for. And kind of a whole lot of garbage at that point. Like it's a little rough, boys. This is not a great bye week. I guess you have Oregon, Iowa could be interesting. I mean, I don't know, man.
Yeah, come on now.
No,
I'm grasping at straws, big dog.
we know who Iowa is. We know who Iowa is.
Hey, look, Navy Notre Dame. Are we about to get fooled with another undefeated Navy going to Notre Dame and be like, oh, they might have a chance, and then they don't? I don't know. We'll see. But that's all we have for this week. Thank you all so much for watching. Whether you're a Sooner fan, a Vol fan, or just stopping by, we appreciate you checking us out. We do these every Wednesday, covering the vast amount of college football. So, if you're a Sooner fan, definitely subscribe. If you're a general fan, keep a lookout for us on Wednesdays. But until Sunday, or actually maybe not Sunday because I'll be traveling, we'll figure it out. But until later, have a good one, everyone. And Boomer Sooner. Good luck out there.